welcome back in. Just another football show. Still doing the Super Wild Card Weekend thing.
Super Wild Card Weekend.
I guess maybe I should just hit it every single time because I don't know what order these videos are going to release in. Depends on the order they get recorded in and things like that. But make sure you guys are checking out all of the videos. They're wherever you found them, the YouTube, Facebook. If you saw some clips on TikTok and decided to find your way over and actually listen to the full conversation, we appreciate you. Give them a share, give them a like. We would very much appreciate it. Today, or this time around, I guess.
Whenever
you're listening to it. Hopefully before the game happened. But if not, that's also maybe a little weird. But still, we appreciate you. We're talking a little Chargers, Jags. I think this is the game of the weekend for me. This is the one I think I'm looking forward to most, which is weird. But I think this could be a really fun one. This is the Saturday night cap, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, Jags actually have back-to-back weeks where they have a Saturday night primetime playoff-ish game. So this is a rematch of a game we saw back September 25th.
Yeah,
Jags
wasn't close.
Walked the Chargers in their house in L.A., so that'll be interesting. That was 38-10 way back in September. We'll see if the same thing happens here. Chargers getting healthy down the stretch here, right? Kind of getting a little bit scary. Yeah. And this Jags team is trying to prove that they're not the same old Jags. So I think it's going to be a really good one, especially if I don't know. Both these teams have been away from the playoffs for quite a while. Both these teams are trying to get that first playoff victory and maybe make a run for it and show that they're legit. So I'm pretty excited for this one. This one might be the best of the bunch. Yeah,
I'm really excited for this one. We are going to talk to David from the Locked On Chargers podcast. We talked to him in the preseason. It was a really fun conversation. He's a really good Twitter follow. I'll tag him in the old notes there, so you can follow him on Twitter if you would like. He's going to come on and talk the Chargers side of things, and then we're going to talk to Jags fan Jay, who has been chomping at the bit since they won the game Saturday night and qualified for the playoffs. He has been declaring that he wanted this spot and to be able to talk his team, and we love that about him. So he will be joining us there at the tail end to discuss the Jags side of things. I think this is going to be a really, really good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so let's get David on and see what he seems to think about this Chargers team heading into the Super Wild Card Weekend.
Super Wild Card Weekend.
All right, so now we're going to welcome back in David. He's hosting the Locked On Chargers podcast over there, so make sure you're checking that out. We're talking Chargers playoffs, man. I joked before the microphones heated up. I've been predicting Chargers playoff runs for years, and here we are with a very good matchup coming up this weekend. I think, dare I say, my favorite game of the weekend. David, how's it going, sir?
Hey, going very well. Yes, first time the Chargers back in the playoffs since 2018, and yeah, this is going to be a great matchup. Two young quarterbacks that are really on the precipice of breaking out, and this is where you do that. This is where you make your mark. It's in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been a great season for Trevor Lawrence, kind of shaking off the dust or the Urban Meyer effect from last year, really. And then Justin Herbert continues to prove just how great he is. Even had that game earlier this year against Miami and Tua where, oh no, this is it. We're gonna find it, and they just blew the doors off of Miami. So Justin Herbert, I was on since day one, since before day one. But still opening people's eyes, and I'm here. I am here to spread the book of Justin Herbert.
Well, it just seems like with Justin Herbert, everybody just moves the benchmark. After you tell him he can't do one thing, then it's he's not a 500 plus 500 quarterback, or he's never taken his team to the playoffs, and now it's he's never won a playoff game. So it never ends with Justin Herbert. I don't understand why people slander him. He's a very lovable character. He does not talk in the media. Yeah. He is a very hard worker and just extremely talented. I mean, he does things in every game that make you go, wow, he just has that type of ability. So I don't understand why he's so polarizing. I don't know why he's someone people like to latch onto and kind of ride the coattails of what he does. But I mean, hey, Justin Herbert is in one of the biggest media markets in the United States, really in the world, in LA. And so obviously there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on him.
Yeah, and like you said, he keeps proving people wrong. and this will be the chance to get over that next kind of hump, that knock down that next goalpost and say, okay, what now? It is a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've come on strong the last couple of weeks. They won their way into the ship by beating the Tennessee Titans on Saturday. Now they get another Saturday night game here. They did play. These two teams did play earlier in the year, September 25th, and the Jags dog-walked them. It was 38-10 in Los Angeles. What was that game about, and are we going to see the same thing in this one?
Absolutely not. I mean, that was a completely different Chargers team than the team that you see right now. I mean, I can go through the list of injuries. First of all, that was Justin Herbert's first game after they identified that he had fractured rib cartilage. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, one of the best centers in the NFL, Corey Linsley, did not play in that game. Okay, so he didn't have that premium protection up front that he's used to. Also, you lost Joey Bosa to injury in that game. You didn't have Keenan Allen in that game. I can keep going on and on and on. I mean, there's so many different reasons why that this Chargers team that is currently constructed after going through the roller coaster that is the NFL season is so much different. They're so much healthier. I mean, it's not even close. You have your right tackle back, you have your center back, you have Keenan Allen back, who has been on an absolute tear. You have Austin Eckler, who has scored 36 touchdowns in the last two seasons. He's been a touchdown machine this year. And also you have Derwin James back healthy. You got Joey Bosa back healthy. I mean, it's just a completely different Chargers team that the Jaguars are going to be seeing on Saturday. I hope they keep that energy. If they really think they're going to do that to the Chargers again, they're in for a very rude awakening.
Yeah, I don't think Doug Peterson's going to let him get complacent, but you're right. This has basically been the theme for not only this Charger season, but as many Charger seasons back as I can remember, injuries and piling up. And but they do seem to be getting everyone back healthy. I saw that even Rashawn Slater had the practice window open. I don't know that he'll be available for this game coming up, but should they win, he could be available sooner rather than later, which would be a huge boon as well for an offensive line that's banged up. So I agree with you fully that this is a completely different team. And the biggest thing that you mentioned there, probably Joey Bosa, but also maybe the ribs of Justin Herbert being healthy and him being able to move around in the pocket.
It's not an injury that you just walk away from. Like it's going to affect you all year long. I've said this on this podcast over and over this season. Is you don't just after 4 weeks your rib cartilage is good to go. Like it's going to pain him for most of the season, and he looks like he's finally coming back from that. He's played really well the last few weeks. I wanted to sort of you pointed out the Joey Bosa thing, the Mike Williams of it all on playing in Week 18. Looks like both those guys are going to shake it off and be good to go this week. Any thoughts on those guys being out on the field on Week 18?
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah,
I really didn't. I didn't understand it, especially after the first couple of drives where the Chargers offense was really cutting just directly through the Broncos defense. Like there was literally no resistance whatsoever. You scored 2 touchdowns on your first 3 offensive drives. Honestly, at that point right there, I was like, okay, I've seen enough. It's time to, go send the starters to the sideline, put some ball caps on them, take their helmets away, and let them enjoy the rest of, this NFL game that is absolutely meaningless. At this point in time, the Chargers already had the 5 seed locked up. There was nothing that anything could have changed how the seeding was already set up. So at that point in time, I didn't understand it that they kept so many starters out there so long. And then, of course, Mike Williams gets injured with, that back injury, which fortunately for the Chargers, they say it was back spasms. And so he is still projected to play on Saturday, which is massive. I mean, in all 3 of the games, the Chargers have scored over 30 points this season. Mike Williams has had, at least 6 catches and over 100 yards receiving. So he's a major cog in the machine of the Chargers offense that performs the best. The best version of the Chargers offense is when Mike Williams is getting the football.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just another decision that has been made over the course of the year from Brandon Staley, head coach, that makes you kind of scratch your head, right? And now we're going to see, I believe, his first playoff appearance. Obviously, his first playoff appearance as the head coach here. How do you feel about him taking this team into the playoffs? Hopefully, into a few weeks of the playoffs. I don't know, like I don't want to say controversial, but he's a guy who gets a lot of flack for the decisions he makes, and in some cases rightfully so. How do you feel about him being the guy to take the team through the playoffs?
Well, the one thing I can say about Brandon Staley is that he is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He does not waver. I mean, there is no difference in this guy day in and day out, and he has the buy-in from his players and the respect from his players. I mean, anybody you listen to on that Chargers roster speaks about Brandon Staley in like reverence, that amount of respect. So I don't think there's any issues in the locker room. Yeah, he does make some polarizing decisions, but he sticks with those decisions, and it's really process over results for Brandon Staley. And some of those decisions make you scratch your head, but at certain points in this season, with the amount of injuries that the Chargers have had to face, the week 14 where they had a 30% chance to make the playoffs and then end up having the 5th seed locked up before the end of the season, Brandon Staley has really been a steady force with this Chargers team. And although the recency bias would dictate that you might want to question some of his decisions, let's not forget that he came up with a brilliant game plan against the Miami Dolphins, and then another one against the Tennessee Titans, and another one against the LA Rams, where they held all 3 of those opponents to 24 points or less, and 20 points for less in the last 3 games. So they've played a lot better, and I have confidence that in this game Brandon Staley is going to have another good game plan, and they're going to be able to go out there and play with high effort and execute that game plan.
Yeah, I think that, and I think this goes for all of the, we talk about a handful of head coaches in the NFL these days that sort of make those, I don't want to call them head scratching decisions, analytics. How we've you describe them, so stand behind those decisions and are on board with the decisions that he's making. And I think that's a very important point when it comes to some of these coaches that are making the decisions and sort of trusting in his players and his offense and his team to make stops or to get those crucial few yards that are needed. I think it just sort of speaks volumes of how he feels about his team, and I think the feeling is mutual with the players, and I think it really just probably helps boost morale.
Oh, it definitely does. I mean, hey, you want to put the ball in your best player's hands and let him go make a play for you. I mean, for the Chargers, that's Justin Herbert. So that's why I never had an issue with them going forward on 4th down and being aggressive. And, Brandon Staley is who he is. He just doesn't compromise his character due to the actions or the words of other people. He doesn't call the game or coach the game in the media. He doesn't pay any attention to the noise. He just but his players love it because they believe, in him, and he believes in them to go out there and execute. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, the players go out there and they play games and they win or they lose. The coaches may help make some of those decisions, but it's up to the players to go execute.
Absolutely. And like you said, most of these, like the criticisms or the head scratching, it's coming from outside, right? Like it's coming from the media and Twitter and Instagram, all those things. And you never hear anyone on the team say, oh, yeah, why would we do that? Obviously, you're not going to, but there's never even anything besides, full-throated support of going for it. And I fully agree. And I think a lot of the I don't know what's the old heads of football really kind of crack under this the idea of being aggressive and stuff like that. But we know that's the new brand of football, and that's what you have to do. So I'm with you. I think everyone here is kind of the same way. Like
100%.
Yeah, go for it. You play to win.
Do what the other team doesn't want you to do.
Exactly.
So out of curiosity, guys, we're talking about this Chargers Jaguars game. From an outsider's perspective, how do you guys view this game? What do you think is going to happen? How do you think it plays out?
I'm big on the Chargers here. And I guess full disclosure, we probably had this conversation in the preseason. I'm a Chiefs fan, so I don't necessarily want to see the Chargers coming in, but there are teams I'd rather see less, right? I don't want to see the Bill.
Sure.
These things are going to have to happen, but I think that beating a very good team, which I believe the Chargers are, I've been on them for a few seasons. The health issue has just been the bane of their existence over the last couple seasons.
For sure.
When your best players, be it a Derwin James or, there are so many players that just weren't on the field, Joey Bosa. Like, it's just not helpful. It's tough to beat a really good team 3 times. I know people say that and it sounds stupid or whatever, but it was a 99-yard pick six away from going the other way the first time.
It's a loss by combined 6 points in both games.
I don't want to see this team. So no, I'd like to, but I do think I sort of like you throw that first game early in the season with Jacksonville out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Out the window. I expect the Chargers to win here, and I expect them to probably win pretty handily, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, like the health is all lining up right. You know, everything being injured during the season and getting healthy towards the end of the season. You know, that's the better way to do it rather than being healthy and getting injured. So I do think that things are lining up. I do think that Justin Herbert is a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. If I had any question marks about this team, it's the play calling, the dink and dunk kind of stuff that they've done a lot of the season. With Joe Lombardi there as the offensive coordinator, but it's worked, right? And it's been working the last couple of weeks. Solid defense, especially getting Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler and Gerald Everett on the field all of those guys on the field at the same time. Like I feel like Chargers are a team that gonna be tough to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, but I'm going to put this out there. Just been facing all season. They've given up 5.5 yards per rush to running backs. It's just atrocious. Now, they've been better as of late. They've had better defensive game plans, and I think they played with better effort, minus the Broncos game, because that game didn't matter. But I do feel like they're playing good football. They cannot give Jacksonville extra opportunities, can't give them turnovers, can't give them extra possessions. That's so precious in the playoffs, guys. You need to capitalize on every possession that you get. You got to score touchdowns. That's one thing the Chargers have done well lately is that, their red zone percentage scoring touchdowns is over 70% in the last 3 games. And that's what you want. That's where you want to be peaking heading into this type of game. I think the Jaguars have a lot of talent. I feel like, you need to run to the outsides that are very stout in the middle. You got to attack the boundaries with them. And their pass defense is really bad. I'm sorry. It's 28th in the league in yards allowed. And so I think Justin Herbert, the way he's playing right now, he really gets up for these primetime games. I think he's going to shred that secondary and there's a possibility it could get ugly if the Chargers are able to bottle up the run and not allow Trevor Lawrence to play action and bootleg off of it, because that's when he is at his most dangerous.
Yeah, I would agree. So let's keep you from playing devil's advocate. Let's get your honest thoughts. Give me a thought. Give me a little game flow. How do you think this one goes? Give me a little score prediction.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as this game, I see I'd say the first quarter, they're going to take, both teams are going to take some time to kind of figure it out, try to figure out what kind of game plan each is going to try to play against each other. I feel like towards the middle, the Chargers are going to start figuring it out, and they're really going to start targeting those holes in the defense. And I think, in the second quarter is when they're going to start, getting a lead. And then I think it's going to change in the second half to where they kind of lull in the third quarter, because that's been their MO all season, and then they come alive in the fourth, and then I think they really put some distance in between themselves and the Jaguars. I say that this game is going to be 30-21 Chargers advance and go have a date with the Chiefs for the divisional.
Yes, I most of that sounds absolutely correct to me. I haven't got a score nailed down yet, but I would tend to agree with what you said there. Man, David, we appreciate you taking a little time to pop on with us and talk. And man, if you are correct and your Chargers get the W, we'll be sliding back into your DMs next week to see if you can pop on and talk to us again.
Sounds good, man. It's always a pleasure. Good luck, man. We'll see if the Chargers are able to pick up the W.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, David.
All right, guys.
All right, so now we got to bring in Jay. He is our resident Jaguars fan. We've talked to a couple other fans off and on, but Jay's been the go-to guy every time we got to talk Jags, and he was on us. As soon as the Jags won this game Saturday night, he was like, "When are we talking? We're ready to go. I'm ready to go."
Fired up.
He was like, "Can we talk now? Like, let's do this." I appreciate that. I very much do.
I would have.
Would have been. I think it might have been a little funner. Jay, sir, your team's playing in the playoffs. Good matchup. I think one of the best matchups of the weekend. How are you feeling, sir?
I'm good, but I actually have one thing to do before I start this conversation.
Oh no. Okay, we're here. We're here for you.
There it is.
Love you, sir. We started at 5:00 my time, and yes, sir, I feel you.
Yeah. It's actually being touted. It's a 1 point spread. You guys would know more than I would. I think
it sure
Jags
is.
By 1 point.
It's currently 1 point.
It's actually shaping up to be one of probably the most looked at games of the weekend.
Yeah,
aside from the Monday night.
No, I think this is the best, the game I'm looking forward to most this weekend. I think this could be the most competitive. I think this is going to be a very good game. I think we could see some blowouts.
We're not going to handle them as much as we did.
No, and we'll dive right into it, I suppose. Like Ryan pointed out when we talked to our Chargers fan, these two teams played earlier in the season. It was a blowout. I don't know that happens again, and you just sort of solidified my thoughts. Talk a little bit about that and how you feel compared to that game earlier in the season.
So I did my research, obviously. I'm here for it.
There you go. That's why we love you.
The Chargers, I appreciate it. I love you guys, too. You guys are great. The Chargers have the second worst record in the NFL. Let's see. In the NFL, not this year, but the NFL, since the first time since 1959, with giving up 155.8 yards per game on the ground.
Oh, here it is. This is exactly what our Chargers fan pointed out. If you guys can get ETN going.
Yep, we put up 151 yards in Week 3. And the Chargers are also 1-3 in games outdoors this season, and 0-4 if the Browns don't hit. If the Browns don't miss that field goal.
Okay, that's advanced analytics, right? So,
I guess. Look, I've been so excited since Saturday night, man. I almost fucking cried on Saturday night.
Hey, man, you ain't getting no judgment from this side of the table, I promise.
No, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a great game. I feel like Philip Rivers is Philip Rivers. Wow. Justin Herbert.
Freudian slip.
Justin Herbert is way more healthy this time around. He doesn't have those rib injuries that he did the last time. Our defense can't get to him as much as we did the last time. But Justin Herbert, man, he threw for top 3 in yards this year.
Mm-hmm.
So our cornerbacks, our safeties, we have to shut him down. Our linebackers, when they drop into coverage, he's gonna kill us if we can't shut him down.
It's it's a powerful offense, right? They're worlds different than they were when you played in week 3, I believe.
Week 3, yeah.
What do you say to people who are maybe just hearing about the Jag-wagon for the first time? How can this team overcome the Chargers, who seem to be the darlings of the NFL at this exact moment? What can the Jags do to shut them down?
The Chargers are walking into hostile territory. First, it's going to take the fans in that stadium to cause some noise to keep the communication down. But we have to get that run game going. We went up against the second-ranked defense in the Titans against the run this past weekend. It was either the second or the first. It was definitely top 3 ranked run defense. We have to get a run game going against this Chargers defense, and Bosa is healthy. Yeah. So it's not going to be like it was in Week 3. We're not going to run all over them, but we have to keep that going to give Trevor Lawrence that time to actually throw over their defense. I mean, he missed some wide-open passes against the Titans the other day. I mean, he missed a wide-open, was it Jones? I'm pretty sure. He missed wide open. That would have turned that game on its head and not had to put that against our defense to win the game for us.
Yeah, and that's something that's been, I think, surprising me even, is like, okay, sure, you have a powerful offense, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, the guys you brought in this offseason, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Zay Jones, all having career years, but the defense is showing up too. Not necessarily household names, obviously, Josh Allen, but not guys that everyone's talking about week to week, and you still have a defense that is showing up, shutting people out, taking care of business, getting takeaways, turn those into points. The defense it has been surprising me just as much.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I mean, we've lost a few games we should not have lost. We went winless in October. We lost to the Colts, the Texans, the Browns, the Giants. We should not have lost to the Giants, first of all.
Oh, that's a run.
I mean, it is. You know what? The Giants, they had a great season. Dabble's done a great job, but we should not have lost to the Giants. I mean, we beat the Ravens at the last second with a 2-point conversion. We beat the Cowboys, which nobody expected us to beat, including
True.
myself.
Yeah.
I didn't think we had a chance at that game.
Yeah,
Doug Peterson has created just a great, a great atmosphere in that locker room. The team is playing as a team.
Oh, I'm aware. Casey.
Oh,
laughed.
is there any chance that that's one of the receipts
Casey
you
laughed
have?
when you brought up Doug Peterson, but I was very harsh
I forgot how much Ryan hated the Doug
very
Peterson.
harsh
We all
on the
did,
Doug
but...
Peterson. I wasn't anti. It was just like I thought Doug Peterson was a very boring guy, but I think this is, obviously he's won a Super Bowl. He got the Eagles the first Super Bowl victory, but I feel like this is kind of just as impressive, right? He turned the Jags around. They had back-to-back first overall picks because they were so terrible. Turned them around. Nope.
At all.
Shook off the stank of Urban Meyer and got this team into the playoffs. And Trevor Lawrence was getting some unnecessary hate for having a bad season last year. I will always cape for Trevor Lawrence, but people were ready to write him off. And Doug Peterson said, "Hey, let's get a halfway competent offense here. Let's Trent Baalke went out and said, let's get some wide receivers here, some guys to help out Trevor Lawrence, and here you are."
Speaking of, you want to talk advanced analytics, there's one team in the entire NFL history that has had 3 free agency signings that have all gone over 700 yards in a single season, and it's this team with the Jaguars. It's Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk.
And that's another thing that a lot of people were quick to write off. We talked about it a little bit, like, Christian Kirk, blah, blah, blah. And these guys all come around and have career years. They really show up. Doug Peterson, revitalize. I shouldn't even say revitalize because it wasn't bad, but actually show what Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence are capable of. It really has been a fantastic job this year.
It's been crazy. It's been absolutely nuts. The job that he's done with this team, with these career seasons that these guys have had. I mean, Trevor Lawrence threw for 4,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's twice the touchdowns he threw for last year and less than half the interceptions. Yeah,
it has been it's been great, and I think a lot of people are quick to say, good run, Jags, you got here, blah, blah, blah. But they won the division. Come on, that's a big deal. But a lot of people are quick to write them off and say Chargers are going to go ahead and blah, blah, blah. But I think the Jaguars really have a legitimate shot here. I don't know, I'm buying into what they're selling and what they've done. Obviously, it wasn't exactly pretty when they beat the Titans last week, but a victory is a victory.
Titans team that rested their starters the previous week, including Derrick Henry, who is an absolute fucking animal. That dude, Derrick Henry is a beast, and I would hate to be. I mean, you saw what he did to Rayshon Jenkins with that stiff arm, and Jenkins is no slouch. But I mean, Derrick Henry playing against a rested Titans team who rested their starters for 12 days, 10 days.
Yeah, they had one singular goal, and it was to beat the Jaguars, and they couldn't.
Which they do every time we're playing for a playoff game. They beat us.
Yeah, and the Jags. The stats they put up too. So they're 10th in the league in points scored per game, 12th fewest points allowed per game. So both sides of the ball. Top 10 passing game, top 15 rushing game. Defense is showing up too. The weakness though is that pass defense, and that's what you said. Worried a little bit about Justin Herbert kind of getting clicking early and just getting run away with it, right?
Yeah, we've got to shut him down. It's so weird talking about a non-AFC team when I'm talking to you guys, by the way. January games don't usually happen for me, so but yeah, I mean, we got to shut down Herbert. We can't let them get started early. We can't let them get started at all. I mean, we could be up freaking 28-10 and Herbert can come out in the second half and just absolutely murder us. I mean, he's capable.
Yeah, it's a fairly scary team, but then again, the Chargers, I looked to their schedule, they don't have a ton of good, impressive wins. I think
the Chargers are just as wishy-washy, I suppose. They've beat some teams, but they've lost.
Whoa!
Hold up! Look, we beat a very good Ravens team. We beat a very good, and I hate to say it, a very good Cowboys team at the time.
Sure. I mean, that's still okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, but you went through that schedule of teams that you shouldn't have lost to that you did. That
have.
qualifies as wishy-washy, I think. You beat some good teams, lost to some bad teams. I think this team is coming into its own, but I think the same thing can be said about the Chargers. The Chargers are coming in healthy-ish. They made some really poor decisions last week on starting Mike Williams and Bosa. I don't understand those decisions, and neither did our Chargers fan, but...
they got a little beat up last week, and thanks.
We'll see. I think they'll be okay, ready to go.
Yeah, the Jags.
It's going to be interesting.
The Jags have beaten 3 playoff teams, including this Charger team. The Chargers beat I think, won, and it was I just looked at this. The Dolphins, yeah.
In the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't beat us.
They didn't.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So, a lot of people are quick to write off the Jags.
Right?
A lot of people are quick to say same old Jaguars. I'm not throwing this team away by any means. I think that it's going to be a good game, and this is the game that I'm highlighting for the week. This is the Saturday night game, so that'll be back-to-back Saturday night, basically playoff games for the Jags in TIAA Bank Stadium in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. The interviews you guys did with the AFC fans last year or this past preseason. my biggest gripe. I know, and I went back and I listened to all those interviews the other day after
we
I talked to you guys and we scheduled this. Yeah, absolutely. But my biggest gripe was with Sean, your Colts fan, saying Jacksonville is gonna Jacksonville and we're gonna finish last in the AFC South. Your Titans guy called it though. He did say that we were gonna split home and home, which I'll give him. I mean, we beat them twice, but your Colts fan, man, they get a little choppy sometimes.
Yeah,
I got all these receipts.
They get higher expectations when they sign those old 40-year-old quarterbacks.
Yeah, I called 6 wins. I called 6 wins this year. We got 9.
There you
go. In the playoffs.
I mean, I did not see this coming at all.
Yeah, and I think the pieces were there, right? Obviously, with free agency and everything, there pieces were there. But this is some of Doug Peterson's best work. Really kind of got the confidence back for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was interviewed before that game on Saturday. He said that's the thing that was down last year and coming into this year is that he had lost the confidence and he was overthinking things. He didn't want to look bad, and now he's just kind of playing ball. In that winning leads to more winning somehow. But in that seems to be what's happening. I am by no means writing off this Jaguars team, and I'm going to ride the Jagwagon as long as I can.
There was, I forget who it was. I know I had a quote this past year where I said something about Urban Meyer, but it might have been Marvin Jones. But some reporter asked him if the team was broken after the season they had last year, and the player responded with, "There was one person broken in that locker room last year, and it wasn't any of the players."
Nice,
and that's exactly right.
That's so true.
It's 100% true.
All right, Jay. We talked about this team. We talked about the matchup coming up. How do you see this game going on Saturday night, TIAA Bank Stadium, rocking Jacksonville, playing your national anthem on the guitar, rocking it out? That was pretty cool. How do you see the game going, and what do you think the final score is going to be?
28-17 Jacksonville. I mean, 24-17 Jacksonville. If our defense can hold the Chargers' offense, if the defense can hold Justin Herbert, and we can get over that defense that they have, I feel like we have I mean, obviously that's the way you win. I mean, you got to contain their quarterback. You got to get past their defense. I mean, that's some John Madden shit right there, but
facts is facts.
Ain't it fucking the truth?
I mean, if our defense comes up big again, they had to bail us out this past week. I mean, they've bailed us out 3, 4, 5 times this year. I'm gonna say 23-17 Jacksonville.
All right. Love to hear it. Like I said, I think this game to me is the most interesting one of the weekend. It's the one that I don't feel nearly as good about picking, and I won't do it until Friday because I don't have to. But if I expect the message, if your team wins, I expect that message pretty quick trying to line up the interview for next week.
do we do it? I forget how this goes. Do we do another one next week if this continues?
Yes, sir. We keep bugging you until your team loses. That's what we do.
This is so weird to me.
I know. It's all new. Learn as you go. It's cool.
We haven't played a meaningful game in January since, I think, right before I started talking to you guys.
Yeah, the one that magical season that should have been.
That 2017, yeah. I mean, and Josh Allen this year was not down. So
there you go.
We can count that as a fumble.
There you go. All right, man, we appreciate you taking a little time to talk to us. And, man, if it's a thing, we'll be bugging you next week and trying to get you up to talk to you about another matchup.
I'll be happy to call you guys. I hope I get to call you guys next week.
Me
rooting
too.
For you.
Me too. I kind of am.
Kind of rude.
I really am.
I kind of am.
Yeah.
I really am.
I'll take it. All right, guys.
Take it easy. We appreciate you.
Y'all do good. Yes, sir. Always.
Talk to you later, Jay.
See you.
All right, and that does that matchup. We got some good fans. Both those interviews very good. This one ran a little long, guys, but I can't tell those guys to stop talking.
Jay's bringing
receipts. Jesus Christ,
calling me out.
Appreciate these guys. Like I said, check out David. He's over there doing the Locked On Chargers podcast. That podcast network specifically bailed us out and talked to us. With a couple different fan bases, and every single interview we did with guys from that network were very, very good. So those are all knowledgeable guys doing the best work possible for their team. So I really much appreciate that. And then Jay's been down for a while. He's been a guy that we've talked to. He's been maybe unavailable or available. Off and on, but when he is available, he brings it, and he's a really fun interview as well. Appreciate him hanging out. If you guys are checking this out on a platform and you don't listen to the podcast, please give us a listen. Give us a shot if you're a podcast person.
Put us on for the commute.
If you're commuting, if you're sitting at work, nothing to do. You got a low podcast queue. Give us a listen. Just Another Football Show. We're hanging out. We 2 episodes a week. We get in the off season. We roll all off season. Yep. We like to have a little fun in the off season. We do a lot of stuff. And feel free to go back and listen. We've done a lot of really fun stuff in off seasons. It still holds up. We've done some situational beer brackets. We've done movie drafts. We've done all kinds of things. But we are coming at you twice a week during football season, giving you all the football conversation you can ask for. We very much appreciate any shares, likes, or whatever we can get. We'll be back for whatever interview you haven't heard yet. There are all of them. They're all here. We have 6 matchups this weekend. We talked to fans from all 12 teams. Click on over and give the next one a listen if you got a little spare time. We very much appreciate it. And until the next one, this has been Just Another Football Show.
Bye.